So before we get started with the build in lesson 17, I just want to go over the concept of levels in Jewelry CAD Dream. What we mean by levels is a hierarchy of interfaces that can be accessed one through the other. We have parent levels and child levels. Okay, so here we are on the home page, or file level. This may be thought of as being at the top of the pile. When we create a new part or assembly, we are creating a new file and a new part in that file at the same time. Confirm. Okay, so when we confirm that, we jump straight into the part level, which we may think of as being 2 levels below the file level, our home screen. So we can return to the level above the one that we're currently in using our exit button. Okay, so by clicking on here, I'm going to return to the root level. So in the root level, we can see our parts. Okay, we just have one part at the moment. Now the part name by default is the same as the file name, so we can rename this. So in the root object level, let's enter into our part. Okay, you can see we have our part within our file. Now we can create more parts within a single file. And now we are naming the part only. Okay, and we're taken straight into that part 2. Exit back out into our root object, and here we have our 2 parts. Now within a part level, we can insert a sketch. Okay, and this will take us into the sketching level, our 2D environment. So we can create many sketches within a part. And then we can have many parts within a single file. Now a part becomes an assembly when we add components to it, components being other parts. Okay, so an assembly is a combination of parts. So let's come in with a gemstone. It's a component. We can come in with a bezel. Which is also a component. Okay, now when we exit back out into the root level, we can see that our parts, our gemstone and our bezel have been added to the root level. Okay, and they are also combined within our part 1 to create an assembly. Okay, and we can enter into the history of our parts in the same way, double clicking on them. And here we are in the history of our bezel. Exits back out into the root. Okay, so we have these parts combined to create an assembly. Now I'll cancel out of this file. I'm not going to save. We're back at the file level, the home page. Now when we create a new file, we're creating a new part at the same time. Okay, but we can just create the file on its own using this multi-object option. Okay, here we are creating the file only, so we're taking to the root object level. Okay, we have no parts within this file yet, and we can simply add them like this. Okay. So using that multi-object file option, we can create the standalone file and then add the parts in like that. Okay, so it's the same sort of thing, just a slightly different method. Okay, now another thing I want to mention is with regards to the file size and parts as well. If I hide this template sketch, dimensions. Okay, now if I come in and place some stones, okay, I'm placing 3 stones there, 3 components, which means that all 3 will be added into our root level. Here we have the 3 stones and our assembly. Okay, now if I happen to undo what I've done by coming back within the history, deleting, say I've changed my mind, I want round stones, instead. Okay, now something to be aware of is that our original gemstones, even though they're not within our history, they will still be parts within our root object. Okay, so here you can still see those 3 gemstones that are no longer within our part level history. Okay, now this isn't an issue, but just be aware that this will increase the file size. We can check on our file size by going to the file drop down, properties. Okay, the objects, they amount to 3.64 megabytes. Okay, so what I often like to do is tidy up my root object, turning on my graphic preview. Once I've completed my design, or some way through it, I tidy up my root object by finding the components that I no longer have in my complete assembly. Okay, I find them and then I just delete them. I hit the delete key or right click, delete. Okay, and now I can come into the file drop down, properties. Okay, you see the file size, the object file has dropped down to 1.12 megabytes. Okay, so we're saving space there. So that's just a little tip that I like to clean up my root object of all of the components that are no longer needed. Okay, now don't be concerned about accidentally deleting a component that you do need. When you enter back into your assembly, okay, you won't see it in there, but when you regenerate, okay, your component will be added back in because it was within the history, and then it will come back into your root object. Okay, so just a few things to be aware of there.